city of Miami is the cultural, economic, and financial center of South Florida. The area is home to 6.5 million people and the 7th largest metro area in the nation. Miami is a microcosm of different cultures and unique landscape. I can talk about Miami in all its glory all day, but that's not what I want to get into. Actually, it's a subject that's ever present. In fact, if you get caught doing something stupid, then you'll need a damn good lawyer. Law enforcement has always been a contentious subject in the city, and it's rightly so. Throughout the years, the city has dealt with difficult issues, at times even gaining national headlines. Since the crime rate was fueled by the crippling drug trade, somehow the city has come a long way from that. Over the years, the police had to grapple with many constant changes in the city. Maintaining peace and order is still the mission, so that's why I wanted to learn from their perspective and see how they deal with the city.
This is Alvaro. I'm one of the public information officers for the department. I've been going on 23 years now, and going on 14 years as a public information officer.
All right, tell me, what is the focus of the public information office?
Well, a public information officer keeps the community informed, lets them know exactly what is going on. I think it's important that in our role, we keep a line of communication with the community. If you don't have a communication with your community, then there's a disconnect. And I think in today's age, it's very important that the community feels that they're part of the police department, and that the department feels that they're part of the community.
Miami-Dade Police has more than 4,700 employees. It operates out of 8 district stations throughout the county and specialized bureaus. The current director is Juan J. Perez. Pretty much this generation is pretty much involved in social media and things like that. Is the department taking advantage of that in any way?
Absolutely. The Miami-Dade Police Department, just like many other departments across the country, you have to move on and evolve as modern technology continues to evolve as well. Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, we have all the social media platforms. Mm-hmm. As you can see behind us, we have all of our logos between Facebook, Twitter, we have Instagram, and of course Neighbors, Nextdoor, which is also a growing platform to stay communication and stay unified with the community and keep them informed as things develop.
Okay. Police community leaders attribute the drop in crime to many factors: sharing information between police agencies, more parental involvement, an apparent call to end gun violence in the community, new medical life-saving techniques. In certain situations, what has been pretty much the toughest thing you guys want to try to get across, or dealing with the new situations involving in media, pretty much, per se?
Well, I think one of our main roles is to educate the community, keep the community educated, because a lot of the times the community doesn't know why certain steps are taken throughout an investigation. Okay. Why police has to do certain things a certain way. Okay. Why is it that due process is important as part of our judicial system? Not only with that, but I think it's also important that we educate the community on certain laws. And these are the laws, these is what you don't do. We also educate the community with, how can they get involved with the police department without necessarily putting themselves in harm's way, through Crime Stoppers, through other ways of being able to communicate and give us some of that information. And at the same time, our community becomes our eyes and ears. We can't be everywhere. So keeping that close connection with our community, understanding what their needs are, us educating them, that there's a two-way street of the flow of communication, and that's why our role, or our job as public information officers, has become so crucial.
The city of Miami is the center of finance, commerce, culture, media, entertainment, and the arts and international trade. There's various spots that highlights the city's multicultural and vibrant landscape. And as universally known, Miami is a major hub for tourism. Okay. So dealing with the city and per se, how you feel that it's evolved throughout the years or anything like that since you've been on the force?
As far as the city's concerned, as far as the county's concerned, of course, our population has grown. Once the population grows, of course, you're going to have a different ethnic groups that's going to continue to grow. And as you start having that and you start having that multicultural growth, of course, with that is going to come different trends. You're going to see that in our demographics here in Miami-Dade County are totally different than if you were to look at the demographics at another state, like for the state of North Carolina.
Or Ohio or something like that.
Or somewhere, Wisconsin or somewhere else in the country. Why? Because, we're here, we have people here from all over South America and Caribbean that are mainly country.
Yeah.
And because you have the multicultural groups, then they have different way of doing things, and of course that creates a different crime trends. And once we see that the population has changed, the crime trends changes, then we have to adapt our way of how to do policing in order to be able to accommodate that. The way we do policing here that may be effective may not be effective in another state that doesn't have the same demographics. So yeah, we've seen how the county has evolved, but at the same time, police work never stops evolving as well.
The improvement with technology over the years, for instance, the RTCC is staffed with seasoned crime fighters, help with ongoing investigation, and provide info for cops at crime scenes. Also more cameras in high crime areas, implementation of the spot shotter, which it uses acoustic sensors to alert police to gunfire.
As we mentioned before, technology has played a huge role nowadays, and we've been able to utilize this technology you can use it to our benefit to help out with the investigations and have closure to our cases.
VU, the body-worn cameras on officers, has become the new norm. It helps maintain a level of transparency that's in various crime situations.
Body cams, not only cameras in the street, but we use body cams. Why did body cams surface? Because the community felt that it was necessary for us to be able to have body cams, because of the fact that it creates that much more of a transparency. The police-involved shootings that was occurring or that occur, we investigated our own police-involved shooting. The community felt that it was more transparent if we have a neutral, a third-party agency investigate our police-involved shootings. We listened to that and we said, you know what, it's a great idea, why not?
Well, since you touched on the body cam situation, has the department been able to transition to that type of how should I say, mandated?
Absolutely. We did our full roll. It took us a couple of days to do a full rollout. We did it in phases, but now all of our officers, including certain investigative or tactical units, are already using them. And in the beginning, it's like any change. Whenever there's change, there's always that. I wouldn't say resistance from the officers, but it's just that it's a new. You're entering that unknown world. It's something that people would ask me, and I would tell them, officers, just like anybody else, if I were to walk around with you everywhere you go, and I get the cell phone, I'm doing this to you, you would feel uncomfortable, right? Until in the beginning, and then you would get used to it, just like a reality show. You use those cameras on you everywhere you go, but then eventually it becomes like second nature.
It's only natural.
And in the beginning, the officers felt that way. It's the uncomfortableness. It's that going into that unknown zone, as we've never had it before. So there wasn't hesitation. It's just that uncomfortableness. But now that they've gotten used to having them, they realize that this is a great tool. This is an awesome tool because it's helped out in many ways or many situations where this could have ended in an aggressive situation, and something that it could have been a little more, that could have put the officer in harm or the other person in harm. Where having a camera, a lot of the officers, all they had to do was just point at the camera, and when that individual that was starting to behave in an unprofessional way all of a sudden would look and see that they're being recorded, their behavior instantly changed. So it helps the officers as well. So not only does it make it a transparent view of have an idea, because it doesn't solve everything, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. At the same time, the other person knows they're being filmed.
Okay.
So even if they pull an iPhone out and they start filming you, well, it's okay, because you can film this way, but it's okay, because I can film that way too. And it's alleviated a lot of issues where there could have been some type of friction, some type of a little bit of a controversy.
All that's going on, the department is still motivated to recruit the next generation of law enforcement. They want to provide all materials possible to make sure they have a chance of graduating. So what inspires you? Because it's not, I don't want to say it's not that easy, but it takes a special type of caliber to join.
Well, it's very difficult, as you said, my predecessor said, to give your life to somebody you may not even know, probably don't know, it really is a calling. Anybody that I've trained over the years, because I've been a field training officer part of my career, which I train the recruits coming in, once they get their first road assignment, it was people like FTOs, field training officers, that show them the ropes on the road. When I would hear a recruit saying something to the effect of, great benefits and great money, they're probably not going to last, because it's shift work, it's working holidays. The ultimate sacrifice is giving your life, as we've been saying, for somebody that you may not know, but
like the FBAT, which is taken at Miami-Dade College North Campus, study materials for the state examination. The Police Academy is where students endure over 6 months of hands-on training. Also, it's been useful to many veterans who still has the desire to serve and affect their community in a positive way. With help from supervisors and counselors, there's many resources so recruits can graduate.
I think you want to have to do something. Whatever your calling is, if you're an artist, you're a musician, I told both of my sons, follow their dream. Because I always had a dream, being raised right here in Miami-Dade County, Dade County at the time. I always had a dream of being a police officer. I always admired I actually had a family friend whose father was a police officer for Miami-Dade County when I was little. And I was a Boy Scout, and one of my scoutmasters was a police officer with Miami-Dade County. So it just, for me, it was a logical step when I was in school.
Is there anyone else department can improve on or anything like that?
There's a lot that we can improve on. That's why we're constantly going, our leaders, meaning our directors, our assistant directors, our deputy directors, they're consistently going to conferences throughout the country. And then that way they meet with other departments to find out what the best practices are. What is it that we can learn from them? And then what is it that we have to offer that they can improve them? So it's a two-way street so we can help each other. Because again, we don't have the answers to everything. But that's why I think it's important that not only do we listen to our fellow law enforcement agencies, but we also listen to our community. Because our community at times has great ideas. Because we have smart individuals out there, just because they're not officers.
So communication has always been.
Oh, absolutely. So now we listen to them as well. So not only have we improved in our technology as far as our crime fighting trends, but we've also listened to our community on how we apply certain trends, crime fighting trends, because we need to listen to our community. So that's why we've stayed away from throwing a net into a community and just bringing in people and then sorting them out to see if we catch a bad guy, instead of doing that, because of course that ends up harming the community in the long run. What we've done now is more intelligence-based operations. So based on the intelligence we gather, we know how to do this operation. Again, it's a less of an direct impact to our community. Why did we do that? Because we listened to our community. That's exactly what they were asking for.
Department and city officials are using new resources to help those who have previous convictions or done jail time have a second chance and establish themselves back in society. Helping register to vote, record expunging, job placement, and education, trying any possible way to help them move forward. Also, the Talk It Through program for at-risk youth who will meet with police officers to get steered in the right direction. And even new leadership positions being filled to help the city move forward. I have to admit, going through this experience has given me insight. Being a native from the city has given me a lot to grapple with. Morality, changes in society, for better or worse, it's a major factor officers have to deal with. If we're going to have a dialogue about policing in America, we gotta point out the difficult problems they face. There will be challenges. The mission is still clear. Somehow I feel we all can uplift society. Officers are on the front line to preserve that belief. With strength and dedication, the city is in great hands. Our minds are at ease, knowing they're policing the peace.